Well, you didn't show up for court on a
Right.
couple of different occasions.
Well, that, like I said, I messaged my lawyer, so I wasn't sure that that was even a warrant. Because I messaged my lawyer and asked him if we could reschedule it for when my next court date was, because I was working at, and was able to obtain this truck, and I apologize that I didn't call the court myself, but he had told me if I messaged him, that he would get it, and that, anything like that, I was.
Well, that's in your felony case. You don't have a lawyer in these cases.
Well, I didn't know he couldn't handle the others, sorry.
All right, well, are you willing to plead to the retail fraud from February? Where was that, Mr. George?
It was at Meyer and Sturgis.
What would I be looking at time-wise, do you know?
1,000 days plus 4 million after that. I don't know what to do with you.
I know,
You talk a good game, but you got multiple theft charges. You're bound over to circuit court on a felony case of theft. You don't show up when you're supposed to.
I've been
You're like
checking in.
Tracy
I was
Chapman in
checking in
Fast
with-
Car. Things are gonna get better and you're gonna move out of the city.
Well, I've been, I've been checking in with community corrections. I mean, I've been doing everything so that I would be holding myself accountable, sir, and I apologize for my mistakes, but if you'll give me the chance, sir, I'll show you I'm really meaning what I say. And with me checking in with community corrections, if you don't feel that the steps I'm taking, if I'm released are in that direction, I mean, you know, I can always be picked right back up, just like I was.
That's always true.
And I'm not trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. I'm just trying to do better for myself, and my children.
Now, at one time you were struggling with meth. Is that not a thing now?
That's not a thing now.
But I don't think you have a valid driver's license.
Yes, I do.
Do you?
Yes. I actually just got it in the mail, because my husband has been keeping my mail for the past 7 months and I didn't know it. And so every time I would have stuff sent there, he wouldn't give it to me. So I had my mail held at the post office and I have it in my personal belongings. Yes, sir. I do have a valid driver's license. But even a restriction on that can make sure I don't go too far out of the, too far out there. If when I do get this drug legal or something, I don't know. I'm willing to work with you. I just want to keep making steps in the positive direction, sir.
What do you have in L card?
It was a public intox. I did 5 days on.
Well, we were looking for you on 2024-52, resisting, obstructing, yield fines and costs. We talked to your ex-husband, told us you were in Elkhart County
Yeah,
Jail.
yeah, I had been at one place drinking. It was the day after my dad went to jail, and my dad's girlfriend insisted I come back to their apartment. So I went back to their apartment and an officer picked me up for being drunk in public intoxication. And so I did 5 days there.
All right. Do you wish to plead to these charges or not? I'm not. All right. So let's talk about the first one. Anybody threaten you to get you to plead to that ordinance case from Sturgis?
No,
In February at Myers?
No.
What did you take?
I don't even remember, sir. It
Can you
was
tell
a
us,
long time.
Mr. George, what it was?
It was a number of items. I think there was some nails, a hammer, some extension cord, and some food. The total amount was $157.12, but it was all recovered.
Hammer and a my smells clean. All right, so do you acknowledge that?
Yes, sir.
Let's Do you understand, Ms. Drake? And this applies to you as well, Ms. Holmes, if we enter a plea in your. Do you understand that if you plead any of these charges, to have a trial in front of a judge or jury? Do you understand?
Yes,
If you had a trial, you'd have the right to be represented by an attorney. You would turn, you had to do is ask for you. If you had a trial, you'd have a right to have any of the witnesses for or against subpoenaed to come to court, so they could be questioned under oath. You would have the right to take the witness stand yourself and testify on your own behalf. You have to, because you have a right not to testify, and if you did not wish to testify, the judge or jury could not hold your silence against you, and you have the right to be innocent. The state would prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Understand?
yes, sir.
We're gonna-
May I ask,
yes.
With the hesitation on me being back on the community and everything that I'm saying, what if we do a probation for my misdemeanors? You know, I'm still awaiting this felony too, but what if we do a probation where I'm
Well,
checking in?
I may try to figure that out, so let's talk about that.
Okay,
All right, so, and I think finally, you have a right to be presumed innocent. Unless the state your guilt, yeah.
because I really think probation would be the way to go on making sure that I'm being held accountable and that you're not just letting another criminal back on the streets commit more crimes. I understand that that's how, it goes. I completely understand that.
All right, I'm gonna order in that one 5 days, credit 5 days. Minimum fine of $120, 2 additional days. Seven, two. Concurrent with the other retail firm, which is 2.5. All right, let's talk about that one.
Okay,
Um,
in that case, sir, I'll tell you exactly what happened.
All right, well, let me get to it. That case,
I was with a
well,
woman.
slow down.
Okay,
Alleges that you were in the Shell gas station on
yeah,
May
I didn't even
25th.
know that they came after me with these charges because
All right.
I wasn't aware.
So did you take something?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I wasn't even aware that they were coming after me with these charges because I wasn't aware that they looked at me as if I had taken something. This woman said she wanted to get these 2 bottles and she was up at the register paying and I grabbed them and they knew I grabbed them and I walked out of the store with them. Now, I didn't realize she didn't pay for them. So I wasn't aware that they were coming after me with these charges, but I did not, I was in her truck. I mean, they didn't even come out and say anything. Nobody did. I just went out to her truck, but I did walk out the store with them, so I will take the charges, but it wasn't for me. It wasn't even anything I intended to steal, sir. I just didn't realize that she didn't pay for it.
Stop.
I'm not making excuses.
Yes, you are.
No, I wasn't.
Stop.
What, okay, what did they say?
I was interacting with Drake and Nickerson at the same time. Nickerson said she wasn't sure who Drake was. She was a friend of a male subject. I asked where Drake went. Nickerson said she thought she had left. Then they told the lady not to come. Then they watched the surveillance videos, showed several angles from several cameras. Second video of the liquor aisle at 417. In the video, a subject enters the liquor aisle. That's you.
Yes.
The subject removes the gentleman jack from the shelf and puts it in a large black handbag. The subject moves to the Bacardi Lyman, removes it from the shelf and places it in the same black handbag. The subject then moves to the back of the store to an empty Subway shelf and adjusts the bottle so they cannot be seen. Subject walks to the Subway counter to get something from the clerk, and when she returns, it's Christina drink. So, do you want to admit to stealing these 2 bottles of liquor? Or do you want to tell me some
Yes,
goofy
sir.
story about
No,
how?
no, that was,
All right.
that was my understanding of it, was that she was paying for them, but I admit.
Stop,
admitting-
stop, stop,
I am
stop.
admitting to stealing
All right,
bottles.
okay. Anybody threaten you to get you to plead to that one?
No,
All right, you're barred from Myers.
yes.
The other one, you're already barred from Myers. In this one. Strip this one. This one. Get the file straight. Same thing, 100 additional days. I'm gonna order 30 days, credit 5, leaving 25 days to serve. You're recommending a probation. I'm gonna see if I can find some sort of placement for you in a treatment.
Sorry, what was that?
I'm gonna see if I can get Pivotal to find a placement program.
Okay.
30 days, credit 5, may be released to treatment program.
Thank you, sir.
I can't, you're just gonna be in jail for a while. Now, you got a felony case thing for other thefts. They felt seriously enough about it to bind it over to circuit court. I'm not sure what the plan is there. You're barred from Shellmart. Pretty soon you won't be able to go in anywhere.
I know. I'm working on changing that, sir.
Plus, you had so much license baggage. I'm amazed that you have your driver's license back. Michigan license?
Yes.
All right. I'll send an email to the jail pivotal coordinator and see if they got any ideas. Otherwise, if they can't find something, you may just sit for the next 25 days minus good time. Should be about 21 days. But I was disappointed when you were still tap dancing around the fact that you just stole his stuff and you
I
wasn't.
apologize. I really,
So you're so much alcohol over so much time has compromised your brain. 5 days clean is a good start. So we'll see. I'm gonna email the jail and see. So someone may be coming to see you to talk about options. All right, you're good to go. Did either of the other guys show up?
I
for
can
the
go check.
pre-trial? Patrick Jones, William White. Good morning. Are you Janaja Holmes?
Yes, good morning.
This is Judge Middleton. I'm here at the court. Also with me is Jeanette Jackson from the Public Defender's Office. You've been on a roll and it's all downhill. So let's talk about this. file 212378 OT was an old driving suspended case. You were charged with driving suspended in November of 2021. You got arrested. They appointed an attorney, set a pretrial. You pled not guilty. They set a final pretrial in February of 2022. And your lawyer was Tim George. Well, this can't be right. It's an ordinance case. Oh, this is before you were the city attorney. So we got a wrinkle here. John Barnes was the city attorney. Anyway, we lost track of you and there was a warrant out for you for several years. Then you got charged in a new case, retail fraud, from November of 2024, and you got picked up last night. Or let's figure this out. So Ms. Holmes, when did you get arrested?
So this was yesterday.
Where at?
I was actually on my way home and the person that was driving got pulled over and I was in the passenger seat and I got arrested for my warrants.
All right, where is home?
Three Rivers.
What's your address? The Stiller River Road address?
Yes, 18211 South River Road.
Where have you been for 3 years?
I've just been working. I haven't been in trouble. I haven't been doing anything really stupid.
Where
I've
do
just
you
been
work?
working. Peterson Spring.
Do you have kids?
Yes, I have an 8-year-old. He's with his dad right now for the rest of the summer.
So they just pulled this guy over, found these old warrants for your arrest.
Yes.
And picked you up. All right, well, this is living proof that ignoring things doesn't make them go away. You just blew these off. We had a lawyer, we had a trial, we were ready to resolve the thing, and then you just didn't show up. Then you got caught stealing something, or allegedly, and then you didn't show up for that either. So I'm going to let you out of jail on your promise that you will show up for court. One option, I could just leave you in jail until the next available date, which is August 1st. So I could leave you in jail for the next 27 or 28 days, and then we'll deal with it. That'll make sure you show up. We're gonna have to get a different lawyer for you. I'm gonna appoint attorney in both cases. Luke, well, yeah, in both cases, because Tim George can't represent you. The original charge was only driving suspended. Mr. George probably was about ready to work out some sort of plea agreement, and then you didn't show up. I think I even called you on the phone without any luck. Does your phone number end in 9297?
No, I have a new phone number.
8627?
It's 370.
No, don't tell me on here. You'll start getting random phone calls. All right, so appointed attorney in both cases. Tim George has conflict. I did this arraignment this morning rather than have the magistrate do it this afternoon. What shift do you work at Peterson Springs?
First shift.
So you're missing work now?
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna do attorney pretrial for 8/1/25 at 8:30. I'm gonna set bond of $250 PR in each file. blowing these off has not been a very successful technique, so let's face them head on.
I agree.
And we can get these possibly resolved by August first. If they can't be resolved, you can have a trial. I'll have a lawyer help you with it, but ignoring it ain't helping. All right, so you're gonna get out of jail. We're gonna give you some paperwork with your new lawyer's name and number on it. I want you to call that lawyer and discuss it with them. Tim, I'm not sure what the conflict on the earlier case, because you had represented her as a defense attorney and now your firm is prosecuting her. So you might have to transfer that to the county or something.
Okay.
But you can handle the retail fraud.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, Ms. Holmes, you're gonna get out of jail. You're gonna show up for court. I'm gonna see you on August 1st. There'll be about 412 other people that day. It sounds like it's gonna be a busy day. So it's important that you call your lawyer and discuss it with them first. Have you got somebody that'll come pick you up?
Yes.
All right. You're gonna get bonded out here this morning. You're good to go.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
I remembered something about how you may not be able to represent her. Are you gonna reach out to Keith regarding that? In case we have to reassign?
We do have to reassign.
Okay, which,
He's on the traffic case.
so the DWLS?
Yes, so just appoint a new lawyer on the retail fraud, and whoever you appoint him on the traffic case also.
Okay, so you, okay.
All right, how about our pre-trials? Did they no show?
No, sir.
Well, I said we'd be done by 8:30. I guess I was over optimistic. Poor Miss Drake, I don't know what to do with her. Then Felicia Slater, she's got a couple phone numbers, but I'm not gonna call her. She just needs to deal with her stuff. All right, Miss Jackson, hope you feel better. Tim, maybe I'll see you drive by on the 4th.
I'm sure we'll be out there.
We have a lot going on. All right, everybody, thank you very much. That finishes our arraignment docket. We'll see if we get some other stuff in here. Otherwise, that may be it for the day. I'm gonna contact the jail treatment people and see if I can find something for Ms. Drake. So we'll be back tomorrow. And thank you.
me know what criminal history information you have for Mr. Denight.
Yes, Your Honor, 5 arrest cycles. The last arrest prior to this case was in 2022 for a probation violation out of Clayton County. There was an arrest in 2022 that was separate from the probation violation in Clayton County for a battery and possession of a firearm. No disposition was listed on that case. There was a 2022 misdemeanor conviction for possession of tools by a person under 18 and a 2021 first offender treatment for 2 counts of reckless conduct out of Clayton County. That case was sealed in 2022. There are no felony convictions that are listed.
Got it. Thank you. So the probation must be for some misdemeanor out of Clayton. Okay, got it. Thank you, Ms. Washington. So, Mr. Denick, I'm gonna mute you. That doesn't mean you can't hear us. It means we won't be able to hear you, but there's some funky feedback. If I have a question for you or need to hear something from you, or you want to say something, I'll turn the connection back on, okay? All right. Mr. Abate, thoughts about bond in this case? And full disclosure, I looked at the commitment package and all it says is that Mr. Denick shot someone, and there's zero context to anything. So
Yes, Your Honor.
I don't know. I'm guessing Ms. Rios doesn't know much about the case either.
Yes, Judge. The state would respectfully request that Ms. Rios, this would be a motion for reconsideration of bond. Bond was heard before Judge Paige Whitaker back February 25th of this year, in which she denied bond and found that the defendant was a significant risk of flight, significant risk of committing felonies pending trial, and a significant risk in intimidating witnesses and the further obstruction of the administration of justice. Just to, I guess, give the court some context or background as it relates to the facts and circumstances of the case, which the state would contend make this defendant a risk to the community and the people in it. This defendant back on October 5th of 2024, a little after noon on the 5th of October, was in the, I guess, the parking area of what I understand to be the apartment complex where he was living with one of his significant others. And I believe it would be the significant other that he shares the 3-month-old with now. At that time, she was still pregnant with their now a child. The victim in this case, Eric Jones, had come over with his significant other and their 3 kids. One of their children needed to use the restroom, and Mr. Jones and the defendant were, from what I understand, friends. This defendant came out and met Mr. Jones in the parking lot and started a verbal dispute over a $10 debt. This $10 debt turned into a physical altercation where both the defendant and the victim began to physically fight. Both of the females attempted to kind of separate the 2 men. And at that point, the girlfriend of Mr. Jones, the deceased, was then struck in the face, which escalated the physical altercation. At some point, the 2 men separated. After they separated, Mr. Jones was unarmed, and this defendant pulled out a firearm and shot Mr. Jones 10 times. After shooting him 10 times, he then fled the location with his then pregnant significant other, Miss Weems. They then fled, and he remained in hiding from October 5th until he was arrested on February 8th of this year. When the APD Fugitive Task Force and the Clayton County SWAT team were able to locate the defendant in Clayton County at the time of what they had anticipated to be the apprehension of the defendant, he immediately began to try to flee the execution of his arrest. At the time that he was fleeing, he was apprehended by one of the canines, by biting down and holding the defendant from escaping custody. At that point is when he was arrested in February of this year. So based upon all of that, and there being no change in circumstances presented to the court, it'd be the state's contention that Mr. Denick is not a good candidate for bond and should remain in the custody of the Fulton County Jail.
All right. I don't know if anyone from Mr. Jones's family is online or here and wants to be heard. Any
They're not.
info?
There's no one present online, Your Honor. I indicated to the family that this was just a plea and arraignment. I neglected to remember that Ms. Rios had filed a bond motion back
Okay.
in May, but they had expressed when we talked about bond that they wished that he remain in custody.
Got it. Ms. Rios, you may have learned a whole bunch. I know it was a colleague of yours and not you who handled the original bond hearing in front of Judge Whitaker. So I do want to give you a chance to respond. Please include in your response your thoughts about what has changed, because a colleague of mine, a co-equal, heard a debate about whether the bond was appropriate in this case, and she decided just a few months ago that it wasn't. So I would need to be countermanding that decision, and I'd need something more than just Mr. Zenaik's a good candidate for bond. I'm assuming he was a good candidate in your eyes or his eyes before, and that's not how it ultimately was processed by Judge Whitaker.
Your Honor, I guess the only difference that I can think of is like more time has passed. I've talked to him, and I believe this is going to be, I know the facts that the state has is a self-defense case. And he would just need to be able to better prepare for his case if he's outside of custody, and to be able to be a father to his children. And given the lack of history or lack of, felony convictions, I do believe he's a good candidate for bond. As far as a flight risk, he's local, his family's here. I talked to his mom and his dad, and they assured me that they were going to be looking out for him. And I believe with that, I don't know if that was mentioned in the last bond hearing. I don't have the notes for that. So that might make a difference in the consideration.
Okay. So, Mr. Zenaik, I've unmuted again. I just want to make sure if there was anything, if you had a question about anything we've discussed or anything that you wanted to add beyond what Ms. Rios has shared, that you had an opportunity to do that.
Hi, Kelly, how are you?
That's not you, though. Hold on, let's get Ms. Hill quiet. All right, she's quiet. Back to you, Mr. Zenaik.
Can you repeat what you said?
Yeah, I just wanted to know if there was anything, if you had questions about anything, or if there was anything you wanted to add. I don't want you to talk about the facts and circumstances of your case. That's not for you to do right here. You and Ms. Rios can talk about that, but just wanted to make sure if you had questions or anything you wanted to add, that you had a chance to do that. It's okay if you don't. I don't mean to put you on the spot. It's just because you and your lawyer are not sitting right next to each other. You may have wanted to have her say X or Y, and I want to make sure you got heard on everything.
Yes, sir, I understand.
Well, while you're thinking about that, let me ask Mr. Abate, the discovery in this case, is it something that's ready to go to get to Ms. Rios? It's already there. What's the status of that?
I think it's something that that is, or if not, can be ready to go by the end of the week at most. I haven't looked to see if Ms. Rios had filed a entry and also a motion opting in, but I'm assuming she has served by the end of the week.
She did. When she filed the waiver on May 20th, which sounds like when she filed the bond motion as well, it was the one where she says she opts in. So if you could get it into this week, or because there's no Friday this week, there's a Friday, we just won't be here, early next week.
Yes, sir.
Be great. Okay. So Ms. Rios and Mr. Zenaik, one, you've already waived arraignment, so we'll get a scheduling order in place. Two, I'm going to leave the bond situation as it is for now, only because I'm new to this as well, and I didn't hear anything today that says I ought to undo what Judge Whitaker did. But Ms. Rios, I want to give you an opportunity to get the discovery, look at it, and review it with your client, because you may then see something either in discovery or potentially something not in discovery that gives you pause to say, it's going to take months to get this. I don't have this from the state. I don't know where it is. And if we start to see delays that are caused by you not getting what you're entitled to from the state, then we need to revisit this. Otherwise, like you said, I'm anxious to get this to trial so that we can get closure insofar as there is closure for the Jones family as well as for your client and his family. So for now, no change in circumstances, but I'm very open to reviewing this after you've had a chance, Ms. Rios, to look at the discovery and see where you think that's going to take us, okay?
Yes, Judge, thank you.
All right, so Mr. Janike, your lawyer will be out to see you soon after she gets discovery. She can't necessarily bring it all to you because some of it may be digital, meaning videos and whatnot, but she can get you paper and certainly talk to you about what's in there. More importantly, she'll talk to you about whether she's going to file any motions. I don't know what happened in your case, but I'm making this up. If you gave a statement to the police, there may have been an issue with the way they obtained that statement. And so Ms. Rios will be looking at that real carefully to see if there's something that we need to litigate. I will see you next, either because we're having a motions hearing, or we will soon enough get to the deadline for the two sides to work the case out before trial. And I'd see you on that date as well. Do you have any questions, Mr. Janike, before I let you go for the day?
I just wanted to know how can my bond be denied from the stuff that's being said, or there's no proof of the stuff that's being said?
Hold on one sec. I just got a text. Someone saying, Ms. Rios, that your client's mom is in court.
Yes. Sir.
Okay, and she wants to speak. You all right with that, Ms. Rios?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Ma'am, was there something you wanted to add? I need you to come to a microphone, so if you don't mind coming to that empty table there. Good morning. If you could state your name just so the court knows who's talking.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Tiff. I am the parent of Mr. Tyzir Janike. And I just wanted to start off by saying, you know, we moved out of Philadelphia years ago to kind of get away from a lot of what was going on, as you can see. And it seemed like ever since we moved down here, I moved down here when he was 8 years old. And it seemed like ever since we have moved down here, he's been a victim of some kind of bullying. And I know that's all going to come out. And excuse me. And the last time he got bullied, it was so bad. His friends put a gun to his face back in 2018, robbed him, took his phone, took his sneakers, and sent him back home walking in the rain. And it was me and my husband went after the kids. You know, they done served time, did what they needed to do. But it didn't end there, because he kept getting bullied online, bullied when he went to school, and bullied in the street. And, you know, that's psychological, because it just doesn't end after you thought you resolved it with that person, y'all ended it, y'all did it. It keeps going on and on, because this is something that happened when he was 14 or 15, and you still hearing about it as an adult. Right. So like I said, that's trauma and that's psychological. So that's really all I need to say. Okay. That's all I need to add it.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. And I hope that you spend some time with Ms. Rios. Sharon, you may have documentation that's helpful for her as she puts together information about your son's situation. And that might be another reason why we'd have another conversation about bond. Okay. As you get more information to Ms. Rios and she's better able to understand what your son's situation is. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate you being here. It's a sign that he's got family support.
Yeah, he has family on Zoom.
Right. Someone was the one on Zoom who said, wait, mom is in court. Let her speak. Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you being here.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. All right, Mr. Zanaik, I will see you soon. After Ms. Rios gets discovery, we'll figure out what's happening next. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hello?
It's been an interesting day. All right, you're good to go, Mr. Zanaik.
Hello?
Love you, Tazi.
Hey, Judge,
Yes?
is there any way possible we can see Willie Kemp that was
Yep.
at Marietta Annex? He's in courtroom 1.
Sure, we'll do that next.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Mr. Zanaik, you're good to go. You don't need to stick in the booth anymore.
Hello?
Who keeps saying hello?
This is his father.
Okay.
I had wanted to speak, but I'm at work. I drive the bus for the city of Phoenix, and I was trying to wait till I got to a stop in order to talk with you guys concerning my son.
All right. What is it you want to share?
Well, basically, back then when I had my son, I moved him out here in order for him to get away from the situation. That's when he was sent back to Atlanta, basically to, visit his mom and his family. And I wasn't opposed to that. But at that time that happened, that's when he got stuck up and robbed. And it was a concern that I wanted him to come back home, but he felt as though he had to stay there in order to go through the trial with the person that basically friends that robbed him. Ever since then, all I hear is things stating that they're bullying him, they're threatening him, and he was scared for his safety while staying in Atlanta, but we couldn't get him back out here. And in that time frame, I'm in constant communication with my son, and he's telling me everything that's going on. And of course, that's frustrating. And then when this situation happened, and he calls me, he's scared because whoever the guys was that showed up at the apartment where he stayed at and started, basically, fight, thinking that he was going to jump him. So he defended himself because they basically was trying to fight him for no reason. I'm hearing all this stating that they just showed up there because a child wanted to go to the bathroom. That's not why they showed up there. My son.
So, sir, I'm gonna pause you. This isn't something that's gonna advance your son's cause for you to start sharing information that you think you've received. In particular, if you received it from your son, you ought to talk to Ms. Rios, who is his lawyer.
I haven't talked to any. That's the thing. No one has contacted me since he basically the situation happened, and they called me asking me, was my son here in Arizona? I told them my son isn't here, and nobody has contacted me or said anything to me since then. And I really think that someone needs to contact me.
Okay, I
Okay.
will give you a call. I'll get the information from your ex-wife, his mom. I've spoken to her. So I will give you a call also, okay?
My son is loved, so he has a backing. So someone needs to contact me immediately.
Okay. Well, it sounds like Ms. Rios will do that. I don't know that people had your contact information up front, but it sounds like Ms. Rios has obtained it and she'll be diligent about reaching out to you.
It's like I stated, they had me because they called me when it first happened, so they had a way to contact me. But
Well, I don't know who the they is that you're talking about, but
the police department, Atlanta Police Department contacted me the same day that it happened.
okay, that's very, very different from your son's lawyer. That is not the same team. They don't necessarily share information. So Ms. Rios now has your contact information and she will reach out to you, and that's who you're going to want to partner with on this. Okay.
No problem.
All right. I appreciate you dialing in, sir.
No problem.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. We are going to pivot at Ms. Reynolds's request to Mr. Kemp, who should be right there. Hey, Mr. Kemp, can you hear us? Good morning. I see and hear you. You are on our calendar for a probation revocation. And it's a 7. So is that a Ms. Wood?
That is mine.
A Ms. Rios. All right. You're the high numbers.
Yes. We are requesting, I have.
Well, hold on. Let me just get us all on the record. I just want to make sure we had the right lawyers here. Okay. Ms. Rivers, good morning. You ready to take some stuff down?
Yes, good morning, and I did take down the bond hearing.
Thank you. I forgot to coordinate that with you. I appreciate you doing that. It sort of jumped out at me. So this is 23 SC 189057 is position 12 on our calendar. Mr. Kemp is in custody now. I signed a probation warrant back in January that alleges that Mr. Kemp got arrested for some misdemeanors and was a little behind on making some payments. So the more serious thing was this arrest in October for simple battery and having some drug-related objects here in Fulton County. Ms. Simpson, how much time is left on Mr. Kemp's case?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, just for a second, I wanted to ask before we do this, if this can be a reset. I'm trying to find him a program.
Sure. Let me find out how much he has, because if he has like 2 days left, we don't need to reset anything.
Okay.
He has 5 years, 8 months, 4 days remaining.
He has more than 2 days left, 5 years and 8 months. So your request, Ms. Rios, is to have some more time so that you and Ms. Ross can look for a program. It looks like based on Mr. Kemp's housing situation, a program would be helpful.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Kemp, do you understand what Ms. Rios is asking for?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So should Mr. Kemp expect to hear from or see Ms. Ross or one of her colleagues sometime soon?
Yes, Your Honor. A request has already been done. She'll be out there soon.
Okay. So Mr. Kemp, someone who works with Ms. Rios, who is real good about finding programs and matching people with resources, et cetera, is going to come visit you in the next few days to figure out what good options might be. After your lawyer and her team have had a chance to think about that, we'll get you back on a calendar, either like this, meaning by Zoom or in person, to talk about what we're going to do next. All right?
Your Honor.
You're welcome. Before I let you go, Mr. Kemp, Ms. Rios, do you know the status of these misdemeanors? Have they been charged? Are they?
I am not sure. I have to look up and find. I was aware of another PI case that was also trying to wrap up in.
Yeah, that was the premise also.
Yeah, I just heard about that. Ms. Simpson was trying to bring that to my attention. It's not in the warrant I have, but there's a petition that I just got that Mr. Kemp did receive. He signed for it about a week ago, and it adds this felony situation from April, so much more recent, an allegation of theft by taking and entering auto here in Fulton. Okay, so we've got a more complete situation we'll work through. You want time, Ms. Rios, it sounds like, to see if you can find a program.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Kemp, any questions before I let you go?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, well, expect a visit from Ms. Ross sometime soon, and then I will see you again, and we'll talk about what revocation is going to look like, whether it involves some time or a program or both. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
One more thing. Yes.
I don't know if Ms. Rios is aware, it's not related to the revocation, but he does also have another case with Judge Dunn.
An open case?
Yes, Judge. And he's got a candidate for the
Okay. What's that case number?
24 SC 001849.
All right. I don't know if you could hear that because Ms. Simpson's not near a microphone. Did you hear that, Ms. Rios?
Yes, where is this case at?
Judge Leffridge?
Okay. All right.
Hold on, Mr. Kemp. I'll hear from you in just a sec. So that's another moving part. And you are going to probably want to talk with your colleagues in that courtroom to see what's happening there. Yes, sir, Mr. Kemp.
Yeah, that is a trial. That is a separate trial calendar. I've been going with that case for about 3 years, and I'm awaiting that. That's a trial calendar. That's old, very old.
Okay, well, I'm looking at it right now. Is old conduct from March of 2022, and you're right, it's on for a July 9th trial calendar. It's listed as a roll. Gosh, you're right. It's rolled over from March to April to May to June to July, And my friend is going to roll over again because Judge Leffridge is in the midst of a trial that will still be going on July 9th. It's an aggravated assault charge. Ms. Rios, 24 indictment, but the alleged conduct is from March 22.
Yeah, we're probably gonna let Leffridge handle that maybe, and then we'll just focus on the probation.
Okay. Fair enough. And okay, yeah, Ms. Simpson just wanted to make sure you knew that piece was out there. Clearly, Mr. Kemp does. And we can do exactly what we need to do with this situation and not interfere with the Judge Leffridge situation. Okay, Ms. Davis, anything you want to add as to Mr. Kemp?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Kemp, I will see you after Ms. Ross has had a chance to meet with you, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, folks, down there in courtroom 1. That space is looking good.
You can sit on first. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, let's go back to our regularly scheduled. And that would mean, where is he? 5 North Booth 1.
Your Honor, 5 North Booth 1 isn't working. Is there any way he could go in booth number 4?
He sure can. So, Mr. Washington, if you can hear me, go to 5 North Booth 4. Do we need to send IT folks out there? That's a couple booths that aren't working, or have you already, Ms. Reynolds, put in a ticket?
It's actually the doors. The doors.
Oh.
Yes, sir. And
Got
the
it.
floor officers have already called it in.
Got it. It's doors, not computers. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Nelson, will you be adding 5 North Booth 4, or should I try to do that?
I have it, Judge.
All right, thank you. Hey there, are you Mr. Washington? How are you today?
I'm good, man. What's yourself?
I'm okay. Mr. Washington, you're on the calendar. I'm Judge McBurney. You're on the calendar for plea and arraignment. This looks like it's mostly a Ms. Rios calendar. Ms. Rios, Mr. Washington is your client. What are we doing today?
Yes, I filed a waiver. I also wanted to be heard on bond. Yeah. Bond
Okay.
hearing.
Let me see one thing. Okay. Yep. Ms. Nelson says everyone's been notified on that one. So let's do that. Is this your case, Ms. Nix?
Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Morning.
All right, so let's get on the record in 25 SC 003019. Ms. Rios, tell me if Mr. Washington already has a bond, if this is lowering it, or it's no bond, and what you think we should do.
I believe he already has a bond.
Hold on.
Oh, no. Oh, no bond. I'm sorry. No bond. I'm asking for the bond to be 2,500. He's 41 years old. He works at Statewide Renovations. He's been doing that with his uncle for about 20 years. He also does kitchens and bathrooms. He has one daughter in college. She goes to the Art Institute, and one 19-year-old son. So this case is based on failure to update his address, but I'm a little confused about what was happening with that. I know Ms. Nix sent me some discovery on that, because my understanding is that his fiance updated his address in probation. I did talk to his probation officer, and they did see him at that address. But then the notes say that I guess a couple of weeks later, his clothes weren't there and he wasn't supposed to be there, or he wasn't there. But what I've sent Ms. Nix was proof that he actually did update his address, and that's what we're here today for.
Okay, well, I don't know that we're going to get into can the state prove its case so much today as just whether bond makes sense for Mr. Washington, unless Ms. Nix is here to say no pros, and she just shook her head. Hold on, Mr. Washington, I'll hear from you. So Ms. Rios, anything else you want to add?
No, Your Honor, is what his family does not have the means to afford an expensive bond. So I'm asking for a $2,500 bond.
Okay. And where would Mr. Washington be? Let me look here. He's listed as having an address. Well, there's several addresses. There's Brewer Boulevard, there's Homewood Drive. Hold on one second. All right. Sorry, I had muted you, Mr. Washington. I thought there was feedback from you, but someone on the call had unmuted. Where will you be staying?
I will be staying at 1188 Chase. My wife just moved here while I was incarcerated because we had to move while I've been incarcerated because I'm like the breadwinner of the family. So she had to move. She is also on Zoom with Sean Bell. And I come to understanding where she made a false report on this whole case. I came up with that this morning, that she had the email that she made the false report on me because she was mad with me, but she's on the Zoom with our new address and everything.
Okay. Can you a little less loudly, just because we're getting funny feedback, tell me that address again, 1188?
Your Honor, I do apologize and good morning. I am LaShawn Bell. The address is 1188 Chatham Avenue, Southwest Atlanta, 30311.
Okay. And Ms. Bell, you are?
I am his fiance. I am the one that the prosecutor says she got a notice. I am the one that wrote the email out of anger, October 28th, 2024, to the Fulton County Sheriff's Department to Miss Janice King. I have all the emails. I have all the emails of where his address had been changed.
Okay. And the 1188 Chatham Road,
It's correction, Your Honor. It's Chatham Avenue.
Avenue.
It's
Okay.
in Fulton County.
Okay. That address, is that where you stay or is that where someone else stays?
That's where I stay. That's where we stay. I moved his things when I moved from 1675 Brewer Boulevard.
Okay. Got it. A lot of moving parts there. All right, that's the Brewer Boulevard. All right, so you moved from Brewer Boulevard to Chatham Avenue.
Yes, sir, I did.
And what about Nash Road? That's what's listed in the indictment. Was that ever an address?
Nash Road was a valid address. His previous probation officer had saw him there. When I changed it to 1080 Ada Avenue. It never updated in the Fulton County Sheriff's Department. As of currently, it is still at the Nash Road address and it has been changed. When I changed it, they send you a copy of the change with the transaction number. I have all those emails where they acknowledge that I changed it.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Ms. Nix, you've been very patient. Tell me your thoughts about bond for Mr. Washington. It's a status offense. So I think bond is appropriate, but I'll hear you out. So I'd be more interested in conditions of bond. But you may know some things about the case that I don't, where you think no bond is appropriate.
Judge, I'll note that the defendant has been in custody 78 days. He was indicted on May 13th. While he is not entitled to bond, I don't disagree with you that this is not one that we want to be leaving in no bond status necessarily. However, the defendant is currently on probation for a registry violation for the exact same thing, where he failed to update his address when he moved. And in fact, it is the same situation where Ms. Bell called the sheriff's office and let the sheriff's office know that he had moved without changing his address.
So she's been angry before.
The sheriff's office did not just rely on Ms. Bell's account. They went and checked, as they are supposed to do.
Sure.
And then got a warrant for his arrest. He pled guilty in March of 2020 and is currently on probation for that case. Then the same situation happened again here in March of 2025.
And we.
We made it
are
for
again.
5 years, but now we're back to repeating that conduct.
Well, no, you made it 1 year.
I thought you said March of 2020.
March 2024.
Oh, 2024. Okay. So 1 year. All right.
And now we're back again. Judge, the defendant also has another case pending indictment. It was dismissed at preliminary hearing for officer failure to appear. That is 24 PI 008395. That is still being looked at by our office for indictment. Whether it will be or not, I don't know. I'm not in that unit, but that is an obstruction of law enforcement and domestic violence misdemeanor against Ms. Bell.
Okay.
No.
Got it.
And the state has served discovery, and I've sent an offer to Ms. Rios.
Okay. All right. Ms. Rios, anything you want to add?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
Judge, I'll also note that this would be his fourth registry violation if convicted.
Ms. Bell, how long have you known Mr. Washington?
Me and Mr. Washington have been together 9 years.
It sounds like it's been an exciting 9 years.
It's had its challenges, but
Yeah.
all in all, it'd be about, I see something that I don't like, he do something that I don't like, and then it boils over his last charge for obstruction and domestic violence. Well, Your Honor, I hate to say it, but I hit Mr. Washington first. It's just when he hit me back, I didn't like it.
Okay.
So
Well-
he got the charge, but they didn't
I
charge
think, Ms. Bell, maybe we shouldn't go into.
Right. We'll stop there, but I hear you. And you're describing a situation with which I'm familiar, having had cases like this before. The main thing that needs to happen, Mr. Washington, is that you need to be careful about moving around and make sure that you keep the address updated. And I don't want anyone to say, did you not listen to what I just said? I heard what everyone said, and it sounds like people are trying to keep it updated, but someone needs to go to the sheriff's office and say, let me see what's in the system. That's not right. Here's my address. Here's proof of address. Because ultimately, as you've experienced over the last 78 days, the burden is on you. It doesn't matter if the email didn't go through or they typed the wrong thing or someone forgot to do X or Y. In the end, if Raymond Washington isn't at address X when he's supposed to be, then another case comes. And this is not your first rodeo. So we'll work through the consequences of that later. I will set a bond, but Ms. Rios, you and Mr. Washington are going to need to talk about finding an address that is not with Ms. Bell until we've resolved this case and we figure out what we're doing with the PI case. The bond will be for $3,000. It'll be through the sheriff's 10% program. It will include an ankle monitor paid for by the county that will stay on for 6 months. It will come off automatically at 6 months unless the state petitions to extend that. And until I modify the bond, Mr. Washington and Ms. Bell cannot have face-to-face contact. They can talk over the phone, they can text, they can write, but they need to be in different places. And in particular, Mr. Washington cannot be at 1188 Chatham Avenue because that's Ms. Bell's residence. So I will sign a bond to that effect after Ms. Rios, you and Mr. Washington have had a chance to identify for me a different address. And it should not be 1187 Chatham Avenue. It needs to not be near that area. Now, you're going to learn some things over the next few days as Ms. Bell fills your inbox with emails and whatnot. I'm happy to revisit these bond conditions after Ms. Nix has had a chance to digest it all as well. But that's a bond that I'm comfortable setting given the fact that we're on go round number 4 with Mr. Washington and not keeping his address up to date. So any questions about that, Ms. Rios?
No, Your Honor. Mr. Washington, just give me a call and
Yes,
then
ma'am.
let me know the new address and I'll get that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Washington, do you have any questions about what I described with the bond?
Yes, sir. I have another address. I just had to call and get the address for my uncle that I work for every day. And I want to know how do this bond process work and stuff like that.
How does the bond process work?
Yes, sir.
So you're in just the place to find out because the bond will be posted through the sheriff's office rather than through a bonding company. And the value of the sheriff's 10% program, and you can figure out 10% of 3,000 is 300. There'll be a few fees, but whoever puts that money up gets the money back when your case is done. So unlike a bonding company where if they say we want $500 and you give them $500, you don't ever see that again. But through the sheriff's 10% program, when your case is resolved, no matter how it's resolved, unless it's resolved by you skipping town, then the person who puts the money up gets the money back. Okay?
So,
Mr. Washington, real quick, do you have that uncle's number? I can call him if you have that with you.
yes, ma'am. 678
Uh-huh.
898 5067.
50?
67. Yes, ma'am. Michael Campbell.
Okay, 678-898-5067.
Yes, ma'am. Michael Campbell.
Okay, I'll give him a call.
All right. Any other questions, Mr. Washington?
No, sir.
All right. Ms. Bell, I want to make sure you don't have any questions either, because it sounds like when you get frustrated with Mr. Washington, you have a way of making his life complicated.
Your Honor, as I stated, it was a mistake. Currently, when I moved, Mr. Washington was the basis of my income for this house. We have not had any more issues. The home that I'm in, I work almost 16 hours a day. It is hard to make ends meet. Mr. Washington's income, including mine, helped me to pay the bills here.
Understood. And there's no reason why Mr. Washington, if he is in fact your boyfriend of 9 years, can't keep sending you money to make sure that 1188 Chatham Avenue stays your place. And there's no reason why he can't come back there someday. He's just not coming back there right away till we get everything stabilized. Okay?
Your Honor, how does the Bell Project work? Can he go through the Bell
Ms.
Project?
Bell, I will call you and we'll talk about this, about the Bell Project, and I'll explain everything, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Your Honor. You have a good day.
You too.
Everybody
Bye-bye.
have a good 4th of July. Bye-bye.
God bless you.
Okay. All right, Mr. Washington, you're good to go. You can leave the booth.
All right, thank you so much, sir. God bless.
What is it about